Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It gives me a great pleasure to open this session and to extend my sincere thanks to the United Arab Emirates and all the organizers of the World Government Summit for their warm welcome and hospitality, as well as for hosting this GCC session on blue economy, a new pillar for sustainable development and integration in the GCC states. This session brings together decision makers from GCC states to explore how the blue economy can, 1, drive economic diversification, 2, strengthen GCC integration, 3, advance sustainable development, while at the same time, we believe that the seas and their resources are pivotal to our vision for balanced resilience, knowledge-based economies, innovation, and sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, the GCC states enjoy a strategic location and long coastlines, making the blue economy a key pillar for growth beyond traditional resources. The blue economy in the GCC states is valued at $180 billion in 2025 and is projected to rise to $269 billion by 2032. Key opportunities in this sector include fisheries and aquaculture, sustainable coastal and marine tourism, and the enhancement of logistic and maritime supply chains. These sectors already contribute significantly to non-oil GDP, underlining their role in future economic diversification programs. Globally, the blue economy contributes around 2.5% of GDP and provides over 30 million jobs, and it's expected to grow by 5% annually through 2030. Driven by maritime trade, which accounts for over 80% of global commerce, the GCC has great potential in blue energy, where offshore winds can generate clean power to support carbon net zero goals, giving us a competitive edge in sustainable energy. Our leading role in water desalination, combined with growth in maritime production and aquaculture, strengthens food and water security, create jobs, and enhance the Arabian Gulf position as a regional hub for maritime food security. Innovation and technology are critical. Digitalization, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things enable smart ports, supply chain monitoring, as well as efficient maritime operation. Also support environment monitoring, offshore renewable energy development, and uniform digital platform, enhancing the competitiveness of the GCC blue economy at a global level. Healthy marine ecosystem and biodiversity are the foundation for sustainable blue economy. Challenges such as overfishing, pollution, plastic waste, and climate change directly affect our resources. The GCC states are expanding maritime protected areas, strengthening regulation, reducing pollution, and rehabilitating coastal reefs to preserve the natural capital of our seas. Regional integration, ladies and gentlemen, can increase the collective economic return of the blue economy by 25% by 2035 through unified policies, coordinated legislation, and simplified ports products. Yet challenges remain such as fragmented governance, environmental degradation, and data gaps. However, investing in marine research, education, and youth talent, along with establishing a GCC network for blue innovation, will accelerate knowledge transfer and smart solution in energy, water, and food. In this context, the Office of Economic and Development Affairs at the GCC Secretariat is drafting a comprehensive working paper outlining a GCC-wide vision for the blue economy. This will serve as a foundation for a Gulf-wide strategy, turning ideas into practical, actionable outcomes. The GCC states recognizes the blue economy as strategic pillar for sustainable development, income diversification, and carbon neutrality, while our unique location and world-class maritime infrastructure, we are well positioned to lead in global supply chain. Our present session offers a vital opportunity to share insight, recommendations, and to transfer them into tangible outcome. Thank you for your presence and active participation, with my best wishes for you all. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, I think, to everyone. And it's a pleasure to be sitting here, and thank you for His Excellency for framing the conversation and putting a very clear view and outlook for everyone on blue economy. I think it has always mattered. It's not that it only matters now. It has always mattered. It was the source of livelihoods for so many peoples that have lived on the coastlines across history. But now maybe it's more important because of the climate change realities and because of all the changes that we keep seeing, the urban developments, the increasing human activities on the coastlines, and the increased need to make more conscious, responsible decisions when it comes to developing the marine industries in a way that preserve the environment, but also allows economies worldwide to prosper. I kept it short because I wanted it short.
That's more than one sentence, but it was worth it.
As short as I could.
It was amazing. Doctor, why it's so important, and what happens if we don't act now?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I would like to extend my appreciation to the brothers in UAE for the warm welcoming and hosting, and for organizing this important and strategic event, gathering the decision makers from different sides of the world. And I'm really delighted to be in between you here, mainly in this important session. It is very important because it is a part of our security, where human beings, they have to secure their existence, mainly food security, protecting from climate change in terms of cyclones, hurricanes, and also managing the natural resources to make sure that they are sustainable. If there is a time, actually, there is a certain statistics which will lead us to the innovation, which is the only way how we find out a conventional way to protect what we have and ensure the security of the future. For example, the maritime navigation in 2005, it was 45,000 vessels crossing the three bodies, which are Arabic Gulf seawater, Red Sea, Oman Sea, and Arab Sea. 2025, they become 138,000. So you can imagine what are the critical increase. On the matter of the rainfall, it used, before that, the consumption of the fish. It is a main meal in this region, in all GCC, and also on the level of tourists, the people from different countries living in this area, because of the importance and the value of the fish. So we have been consuming 485,000 tons of fish by 2005. 2025, it reached 1.1 million tons. The rainfall, it used to be 120 millimeter as average in 1976 to 1985. 1986 to 1995, it became 100. 2016 to 2025, it became 68. So it 50% less than what it was before. So really this natural resource on the level of even though the salinity of the, if we take example, the Arabic Gulf Sea water, you can imagine the consumption of fresh water from desalination plants, depending on the seawater coming from Arabic Gulf, which was in 2005 3.6 billion cubic meter annual. 2025 it becomes 7.8. The fresh water getting into this sea body from the rivers in Shatt al-Arab, it was 850 cubic meter per second 2005, and it become 2025 120. So it is right now 20% of it what it was in 2005. So this critical statistics really leading us to imagine about the security more than as a first phase before we attend to the advancing the blue economy, since the protecting and sustaining what we have right now is the number one step. The second step, finding out unconventional solutions through innovation, through Internet of Things, through satellites, the giga data, and also artificial intelligence, the level where we can manage sustainably these three bodies in order to secure them for the future, and then build in them our strategies of blue economy in the region.
Fascinating numbers, especially that His Excellency mentioned that the size of the economy is $180 billion last year, and it's going to more than double in 7 years, which is a huge, that's a lot of potential. And again, there's a lot at stake here. Doctor, your take.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, Excellencies. It's a pleasure being here. As a member state organization, I would like to thank the government of the UAE, which is the host of the regional office for the Middle East and North Africa, and the GCC Secretariat for the growing collaboration. It's important because there are a couple of dimensions. The first one is a lot of efforts have been put on green economy, on green growth. And the potential that we can unlock from blue economy can help to accelerate the delivery of the green economy ambition. So that's the first dimension. The second, why it's important, is the opportunity for innovative financing instruments and mechanisms. And one of them that is increasingly taking place and picking up is the blue economy, blue bonds, that we have helped a number of countries to develop the blue bonds as a way to mobilize additional finance. And the third dimension is the opportunity for green jobs creation and green entrepreneurship, particularly when it's come to green entrepreneurship for SMEs and MSMEs. For youth and women, there is a huge potential when it's come to blue economy, and unlocking that helps to create the synergy between the green and the blue economy. So those are three dimensions why it's important.
Thank you very much. There's 2 points that I'm going to follow up on from your side, the untapped potential, financing, and of course the challenges. But before that, Your Excellency, the UAE has done a lot on that front, and I would like to understand how did you manage to balance expanding the activities of a blue economy and of course at the same time protect the marine ecosystems. Tell me the trade-offs here.
Well, that's the general mindset, is that we have to have trade-offs. It's not really the situation. Okay. The UAE have, from the very beginning, adopted a pro-climate, pro-growth approach across all, whether it is on our developments in urban design, in industry, in energy, across all sectors. So what we have started from the beginning is to create this well-integrated model that takes the environment as an essential element and part of the design from the very beginning, and not an afterthought. And that's I think that's the pitfall that usually happens, is that it becomes as an afterthought instead of making sure that it's part of the design process from the very beginning. The UAE was the first country on the region to join the Global Ocean Alliance and have committed to the 30 by 30 preservation and conservation of ocean areas. We have so far 19 marine conservations, which sums up to more than 17% of the marine area. And that shows the UAE commitment to ensure that we are progressing hand in hand, whether it is on the economical development side, but also in the environment and sustainable agenda. And we don't do that without looking at all the innovations, the scientific research that has to be put in place so that we are also taking very well-informed, mindful decisions when it comes to achieving our economical development with the sustainable development in mind. We have J1 as one of the projects under Environment Agency Abu Dhabi, which is the research vessel that has been collecting data and has been using very innovative technologies. And we have also Khorfakan University that has very clear focus on marine research, and the newly opened Marine Research Center also in Khorfakan that is well dedicated for this kind of research. So again, to sum it up, it's a pro-climate, pro-growth. You don't need to compromise, which is the general understanding. And when we do take any decisions, it takes the sustainable development and the environmental impact from the very beginning of the decision-making process, and those decisions are well informed by science, research, and solutions are driven by innovation.
But building on, he mentioned so many challenges. Your Excellency, I would like to understand, because you said no compromise, no trade-offs. At least I'm sure you face so many challenges. What are the top challenges from the UAE experience on that front?
So it's not only the UAE experience. I think this is something that we generally have in the region, being in this location with the increasing temperature, the increasing salinity, as His Excellency have mentioned and outlined some of the alarming statistics that we have to really consider when we take any decisions going forward. Like most of the countries in the region, they rely on desalination as a source of fresh water due to lack of fresh water resources naturally. And to achieve or to overcome the challenges, the environmental challenges that comes with that, we need to look again at science, research, and innovation. And that's why the UAE have launched in 2024 Mohammed bin Zayed Water Initiative, which is very focused on driving international innovations to achieve a more disruptive approach when it comes to desalination, to avoid the environmental impact, and at the same time to ensure that we have continuity of supply, because water security is essential for any society and any community.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Back to your points, Your Excellency. Oman has a very long coastline and very rich marine resources. You've mentioned some of the challenges you face, and I think balance is key going forward. I want you to tell me, how do you try to strike the right balance in developing, of course, the blue economy, which is key for the economic diversification of the country?
When we come to the Oman as a location in the region, I think we are a part of three sea bodies. Number one, the Arabic Gulf, so the difficulties are there. We are sharing the same difficulties facing by our brothers in the region. And through the GCC and also through ROBME, the discussion really already taking place in order to come out with a certain management driven the region to sustain this nature resource. But on the other, to see water bodies, Oman Sea, Arab Sea, really they are open to Indian Ocean. So they are more flexible and rich on the matter of fisheries, and also the source of the natural fisheries are two. Number one is the mangrove trees, which are creating the ecosystem in the very shallow marine. Secondly, the coral reef, which are also the mother of the fisheries in the relatively the medium shallow marines. So really, there is a big focus on these two elements in the environmental aspects nationally in Oman. And our brothers here in UAE have a target to achieve 100 million trees of mangrove, and they already achieved 50% of that, and they are moving forward by 2030 to achieve this goal. In Oman also, we have Oman Blue Carbon to plant 100 million mangrove trees, and that will be through investment. Private sector investing in planting mangrove trees to create carbon credit, and we're sharing the benefit with this private sector, and also rehabilitating our ecosystems. So it is win-win-win situation. The third factor or element is the coral reef. So right now, as a service, environmental service, the government in Oman doing its own best in order to monitor the coral reefs, regions, and locations, cleaning them many times a year from some nets, some waste coming from the conventional fishing sector. And thirdly, to rehabilitate the natural coral reef industrially. More than that, we are working on a study right now to create the private sector to invest in rehabilitating the coral reef, even though to create a carbon credit, since this is the future trend already started. On the matter of carbon credit, the mangrove and the nature-based solutions can exceeded the level of $30 right now per CO2 ton, comparing to the renewable, which are in between 2 and 3. So there is a big potential for private sector, for investment, for unconventional solutions to create unconventional fund to support these efforts to protect the natural resources, and also to build up the basic of blue economy in our regions.
Thank you very much. Doctor, I'll bring you here because in your first answer, you've mentioned financing. And His Excellency was saying that there's a lot of opportunities and you just read the right financing for it. Tell me, what's the link between green financing and blue economy and the opportunities there?
Yeah. No, that's a very good question. In terms of the approach we have used so far with countries, we always look at the blue economy in terms of the regenerative component of the blue economy and the decarbonization in terms of where we can mobilize more investment for the blue economy. So when you look at these two components, each one of them kind of take you through the policy aspect, because to mobilize those investments, you need to have the right policies in place, and linking the policies to the investments and to the innovative financing mechanism. Specific to your question on the investment mobilization, I will give 3 examples. The first ever sovereign blue bond that was mobilized globally, we supported with St. Lucia for about $300 million. And this was kind of directed to have financing for specific types of projects, and one of them being the coastal marine nature-based solution, and providing the opportunity for the private sector. An important aspect in all of these blue bonds initiative that we supported is on wastewater. From engineering perspective, as a water engineer from background, from engineering perspective, we know that 1 drop of drinking water has the potential to be reused 7 times before the end of the life cycle. So when you think about the potential of blue economy for the use and reuse and treatment of wastewater, it brings another dimension, particularly for countries hardly hit by climate change, like in the MENA region, and where His Excellency mentioned the rainfalls have been dropping over the past half century. Another important aspect is on blue carbon. So the largest blue carbon opportunity we have developed started with Indonesia, And Indonesia, they have invested a lot in mangrove, like the UAE. So there are similarities where the blue carbon opportunity becomes an avenue, a channel to mobilize financing. And there are two other aspects to add here. So one is on, so the biodiversity, when you bring the seascape and the landscape together, it brings that opportunity of creating more opportunities for jobs, green jobs and green entrepreneurship. But access to finance becomes the key issue. Mm-hmm. How do we unlock it? And one last point to add here is that government alone cannot do it. The government can show the way. The government can, in a way, put the policies in place, brings the solutions, but the private sector access to finance to support and accelerate the delivery of the blue economy ambition is a critical component. If I take examples from other areas in the GCC, for example, every time that there is an initiative that takes place here, the magnitude is much bigger than what you see in other countries, in other regions. And that's, I think, it's driven by the strong political support and also the ambition to always think big and do big. And to me, I think as a member state, we have the opportunity to learn from the MENA region, to GCC, to actually share with other countries when it comes to blue economy.
You've asked an important question. You said how to unlock financing. How are you planning to do that?
Yes, so unlocking financing, I didn't go into more detail in terms of blue economy. So blue bonds is an innovative way to unlock financing. So St. Lucia was the first one, and then we did Mexico for $350 million US, also blue bonds, and with a pipeline of projects identified, particularly in the National Adaptation Plan of the country and the NDC. So looking at the ambition set there and how to translating them into a pipeline of green bankable projects. So GGGI works also with Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka was much smaller for 10 billion blue bonds that was issued. And then we look at mostly how the pipelines of green bankable projects can be financed through these instruments. Well, it's so we work with on two fronts. One is the blue bonds as a normal bond issuance. The second one is the debt for nature climate swap. So countries are able to use the blue bond as part of an instrument that we design, and we usually have GGI teams sitting within the ministry to have the framework in place to work for about 10 weeks. It takes 12 months to do it, but once the issuance is start, it takes about 10 weeks to actually mobilize the financing. And then we have the post-issuance of 1 year to do the reporting linked to the specific project. So financing the project without the government putting extra funding immediately is an opportunity that we have with blue bonds that is working so far.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, back to you. You've listed different projects here in the UAE. You've mentioned also different policies. And I'm very curious to know which policies have delivered so far the strongest results in protecting marine ecosystems so far, or biodiversity, let me put it that way.
Well, it's very hard to select one policy that have delivered the impact, and being the minister responsible for all the policies, I would love to say that they all deliver the impact that we look for. And in fact, if we want just to mention a few of them, the regulations on fisheries to ensure that we have healthy population of the different species of fishes in the Gulf. And those are policies that are based on information, based on data that we collect on a very continuous basis. Now, these are policies that, because the water bodies are very well connected, and if we think about the water bodies in the world, they're virtually all connected in a way or another, and maybe also the water volume around the world is well connected around the world. And we can't design one policy in one place that will deliver the impact that we want if there is no regional and global collaboration around this work. So when it comes to fishing regulations, there has to be also coordinations, and there are a lot of agreements and conventions around the world that overlook the health of the marine systems, and the UAE is actively playing its role, as well as the other GCC countries that we work together. And His Excellency, the General Secretary of the GCC, have mentioned in his opening speech, they are working on a comprehensive study to allow all the countries in the region to deliver or derive their policies based on that study. So on one angle, the regulations on fisheries, there are also the other regulations and frameworks, the National Framework on Biodiversity. This is a framework that has been designed, launched, and in implementation with clear focus on all angles. His Excellency have thankfully mentioned one of the UAE targets when it comes to planting the mangroves. We have a target to plant 100 million mangroves by 2030. We achieved more than 50%, as he mentioned, and we're working very closely as well with our partners worldwide, because as we said, it's all interconnected. You can't have the impact only if you focus on your local policy, if you don't effectively also work on driving international, regional, and international collaboration. And we've worked for the mangrove. We've established the Mangrove Alliance for Climate with Indonesia. It was launched in COP27. Now, so far, we have nearly 47 countries who are part of the alliance. And those 47 countries are responsible for more than 60% of the mangrove ecosystems in the world. And the unique model that we work within this alliance on, it's not only to bring the countries who have the mangrove ecosystems as part of their natural environment, but also the other countries who are willing to contribute to rehabilitate, restore those systems in the countries, even if they don't have them naturally in their environments. And as have been mentioned by the fellow speakers on the panel, there are a lot of economical opportunities when it comes to that. How does that translate into blue carbon credits and how it can effectively contribute to climate action? And this is only one of the nature-based solutions. We believe that in nature, there are abundance of solutions, and in marine environments, there are abundance of solutions and wonders that we haven't yet explored. We haven't yet leveraged on those solutions. And that's why I keep going back to science and innovation and their role of driving policies and their impact forward.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I would like to follow up on a very important point Her Excellency mentioned. The regional and international collaboration is key. And my question to you, Your Excellency, are we moving fast enough?
I'm not sure really.
No, I'm sorry.
But I think we don't have many options. This is the only option to work collaboratively together, regionally and globally, since the maritime ecosystem is not that local ecosystem. The impact coming from everywhere, even though from the ocean, even though from the commercial ships crossing the ocean and the sea. For example, there is a number of accidents because of which a big number of whales died every year. The loss of one whale means we are losing millions of trees in terms of observing CO2. So what is the solution? The solution using the technology to create a maritime traffic pathway for these ships and keep monitoring them. So this is also coming back to the first question about the policies, either national or international. The question is not how many policies, the question is the implementation of the policies.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Doctor, let me bring you here because I think collaboration and coordination is key and is very important. And my question to you, what is the biggest risk today if blue economy policies are developed nationally and not coordinated regionally or internationally?
Yeah, I think I would say there are risks associated with not coordinating. And the GCC organizing this forum is an example of coordination or giving the opportunity to share a lesson. Her Excellency mentioned the alliance, the Biodiversity Alliance. So I think driving the global movements from regional to global level is an important aspect to make sure that we are not going in silo. So that's number one. Number two, I think it's also that when new countries are starting to work in the blue economy, a new project does not necessarily need to mean that we are doing it for the first time. A country that is starting a solution that UAE has been successfully implementing can learn from the UAE and leapfrog and maybe take less time to advance quickly than the UAE has done, because UAE has been doing for so many years. So learning for scaling up, learning for scaling out is one of the risks if we are not, countries are not talking to each other. Mm-hmm. But there is a third, and I would say, risk that we discover, for example, in the Pacific. There are small island states, and quite often the investment project that we help to develop, they can be so small because of the size of the countries that they may not attract the investors. So aggregation becomes an important aspect, particularly when countries are sharing a coastline or they are sharing borders. So in a way, blue economy is one of the opportunities where we don't need to see borders, because knowledge doesn't have border. And if you go in silo, the risk is that we go slow. And the magnitude of the issues is so big that the level of delivery, the quality of the delivery, or the scale of the delivery is not matching it for now. Mm-hmm. And last, not the least, we have the science. So the academia are working, particularly in the GCC. I had the chance, for example, to, not a long time ago, to speak with the Biodiversity Center of Doha University, as an example. Other GCC members have academia working in this space. When you look at the advance in science, sometimes we risk to have that disconnect between the potential that the science is showing us and what is actually happening. And that synergy can be driven and accelerated through the access to finance and knowledge. So coming together, not for competition, but coming together to put the knowledge and the ideas and accelerate the delivery is, I think, one of the main ambitions in the alliance, Your Excellency, you mentioned, on biodiversity. So we, GGGI, we also try to play that role of bringing more countries into that space. Yep. Sometimes it's not because of lack of willingness. Sometimes it's because they don't know what are the opportunities out there, what they benefit from it. So I think sharing the benefits of this type of alliance is going to help other countries to join and to know that it is possible. Quite often, people, many government officials in LDCs, for example, they see the challenges. But if we flip it, we can also see how we translate those challenges into opportunities. And my last point is on the opportunities. For example, when we met with the Minister of Finance of Indonesia, and we did what we call the financial modeling of the delivery of the blue economy and the blue carbon opportunities, to show that if they continue in the business usual, compared to delivering with blue economy and blue carbon, the number of job creation is much higher. And that's what government officials want to see. The evidence of what's happened if I do it differently. I just want to add that last point.
Thank you very much, Abga. So I have one last question to all of you. Looking ahead to 2035, what is the one decision GCC governments must make today to ensure that blue economy becomes a driver of sustainable growth, not environmental stress?
I think it would be on the, as I mentioned before, if you take environmental decisions after taking decisions on economical developments, it becomes an afterthought. Mm-hmm. So making or setting that as a requirement across the board in all developmental projects that takes place on land and in water to have criterias of preservations, conservations that will maintain the health of the marine ecosystems. And because if it's an interconnected body, It cannot be taken from one side. So taking that decision collectively across the water bodies that are linked to the GCC countries, I think that's going to be a game changer to ensure that it's implemented with the right model and with the right information and data taken into account.
Very much. That's amazing. Give them time to think, Your Excellency.
The same question?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we need, I can name it right now. It is the Arabic Gulf Seawater Management Policy. We should have that policy. And here in the region, I think the cooperation is very strong, and the belief in making things together is very strong. So there is a very huge potential for implementation.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Doctor.
To me, it comes down to unlocking the potential of blue economy and blue carbon that is people-centered, putting the people at the center of the decision. What we do and how we do is always going to impact on the quality of the delivery. So the people-centeredness is a key part of those decisions for the creation of jobs, for the creation of opportunities, and to making sure that no one is left behind, so that others can learn from the countries that are advancing and helping them to advance as well. Thanks.
So I think today's discussion has made it clear, one thing at least is very clear to us. The blue economy is a strategic pillar for sustainable growth, resilience, and integration across the GCC. It requires shared vision, shared or coordinated action, and strong partnerships to move from ambition to impact. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for our amazing speakers today.